Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new installment of the Wrestling Analyst. Today, we're taking a look at what happened on the February 27th episode of Monday Night Raw. Here we go. So, match number one, Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso versus the Street Profits. Now, before the match, Jimmy cuts a promo saying, well, basically that they have a Sammy problem, a KO problem, and that he wants to see Jay back with him. That's basically it. The Profits are interrupting, and that leads to the match. Um, Street Profits are having a dropkick festival in this match. They made like 4, 5, 6 drop kicks in the match. Uh, Now, Solo and Jimmy win the match with a Samoan spike, continuing the domination on over the tag team scene. After the match, Solo goes for the chair neck injury that they same thing they did for Riddle a couple of months ago, but he's stopped by Kevin Owens, who gives a stunner after that to Jimmy Uso. Now, all this, what it does is Street Profits lose again. Uh, so that's going to lead to a separation of the Street Profits uh, in the long run. You see, we saw before the Elimination Chamber, Dawkins losing his qualifying match to Damian Priest, while Montez Ford won his match uh, against Elias, if I remember right, uh, before the Elimination Chamber. So we know that Montez Ford is going to get the singles push eventually. Maybe Dawkins will get one as well, but maybe not as big. So it's not going to happen before WrestleMania. That's for sure. When it's going to happen, I don't know, because we haven't seen any cracks in the Street Profits tag team yet. Big cracks, I mean, apart from what we've seen before the Elimination Chamber, Taz getting the win and Dawkins getting a loss. We know it's going to lead to that. Anyway, every tag team at one point, or almost every tag team at one point, breaks up. So uh, we've seen it in the past. We're going to see it again. There's going to be a breakup of the Street Profits. When? It's going to be after WrestleMania. When exactly? We'll know. We'll see in the next couple of months. Then there was the VIP lounge when MVP last week told Brock Lesnar that if he has the guts, he's going to show up to accept Omos's challenge. Well, we didn't have to wait long before, because right after the commercial break, Brock Lesnar's music hits even before MVP's music, and he goes in the VIP lounge, and then he says to MVP, "Well, come on, come." And uh, after a couple of back and forth, and MVP selling the match to Lesnar, while Lesnar accepts the challenge for um, for a match at WrestleMania. So we're going to see Lesnar versus Omos at WrestleMania. On with the second match. So match number two, Cody Rhodes versus Chad Gable. Now during the match, Cody Rhodes seems to injure his knee, but that's just to continue selling Cody Rhodes as a Superman who's going to fight through injury to get to where he wants to be. Another good match for Chad Gable. Uh, I've said it numerous times. I'll say it again. Chad Gable is so underrated. I hope he gets a singles push in the near future. Uh, We'll see. But he is so underrated, that guy. He deserves a lot more love from the WWE Universe than what he gets right now. Uh, Now, Cody Rhodes lands a Cody Cutter from the top rope on Chad Gable. Gable is one of the only guys that would be able to take that. And the way he sold the Cody, the Crossroads by being spiked on his head, and again, like I say, Chad Gable is underrated. Anyway, so nice win for Cody again. Continues his road to WrestleMania. And the fact that Chad Gable keeps on losing and Otis, well, we had a segment with Otis later on in the episode with the Maximum Male Model. I'll come back to that when I talk about Otis's match. But the fact that Chad Gable is selling like that right now is incredible. So nice win for Cody on his way to WrestleMania, on his way to the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship, because I'm convinced he's going to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Then we had a little interview with Baron Corbin that's interrupted because Kevin Owens was walking behind, and Byron Saxton talked to Kevin Owens. So that's just another lack of respect for Baron Corbin. He's going to take exception to that. And that continues the storyline that no one cares about Baron Corbin, some or so it seems. So we'll see what how this develops in the next few weeks. Let's go to the third match. So match number 3, Asuka versus Carmella. Now, apparently, Asuka has never beaten Carmella one-on-one. Well, we all saw what happened at the Elimination Chamber where Asuka beat Carmella to win the chamber. But apparently, one-on-one, Asuka never beat Carmella before. That all changed Monday. Carmella dominated a good part of the match until she started trash talking Asuka, and then all hell broke loose. Asuka responded with a flurry of offense. No, Carmella did make a comeback at the end, but Asuka reversed a roll up from Carmella into her new Asuka lock for the win. And then Asuka start talking in Japanese, calling up Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair comes out with purpose and saying that if I hope you said that, well, Bianca said, I hope you said that we're going to tear the house down at WrestleMania, because if you said anything else, you're going to pay. Basically, you're going to pay. Now, Asuka is just keeping keep keeps going towards a WrestleMania win at WrestleMania, with the becoming she's going to become the new uh, Raw Women's Champion at WrestleMania. I don't think right now anyone can stop Asuka. Anyone. Since she came back at the Royal Rumble with that new Kana uh, persona, they're still calling her Asuka, but they're selling Asuka right now as the old Kana, which was the most, like Corey Graves said himself at Royal Rumble, once upon a time, the most feared woman in the business. And that's how they're selling her right now. So we'll see how it goes, but I think that Asuka is victory bound for WrestleMania. If they don't make her win, the whole new persona from Asuka will have been wasted. I'm saying that right now. So let's go to the next match. So match number 4, Piper Niven versus Candice LeRae. Now, Candice LeRae comes out, and you see in the background Nikki Cross like trying to hide, but following Candice where she goes. And she follows Candice LeRae to the ringside area, and that the match takes place, and we could have expected Piper Niven to win the match. Now, Niven, at the end of the match, Niven tosses LeRae back in the ring. Nikki goes to attack Piper Niven, and Niven just takes her by the hair and swings her in the barricade and goes back to the ring. And then she turns around, looks at Cross, and then Candice LeRae rolls her up for the win. So maybe an involuntary intervention by Nikki, maybe involuntarily, involuntarily, sorry, I'm having trouble with that word, involuntarily helping Candice LeRae winning the match. Now, is that going to develop a bond between Candice LeRae and Nikki Cross? We'll see in the future, but that could be an interesting mix there. So, now for ratings purposes, Candice LeRae taking the win over Piper Niven is a huge win for Candice. Then we had the segment Miz TV, where we learned that Miz is going to be the host of WrestleMania, and he's interrupted by Seth Rollins, who super kicks the Miz, stomps him, curb stomps him, and then he takes the Miz's phone, gets the facial recognition, and he just calls Logan Paul on video. And first thing that Logan Paul says is, Miz, stop calling me. And then you see her Seth, they say, hey, Logan, and if you have the balls, you're going to show up next week. So there's going to be, there was some trash talk a little bit, but we're going to see a confrontation next week between Logan Paul and Seth Rollins, which should be pretty interesting. Let's go to the next match. So match number 5, Bobby Lashley versus Elias. Now, Elias must have a death wish asking for this match. Lashley simply dominates and wins the match with the Hurt Lock. After the match, he warns Bray Wyatt to keep his name out of his mouth. And he goes to go backstage, and then Bray Wyatt appears on screen with a training video and ridiculing Bobby Lashley, saying repeatedly, ask the muscle man, and something like that. And after a while, everything cuts off, and you just see Bray saying that Bobby Lashley, you should run. So this is just to set up, again, a match at WrestleMania for Bobby Lashley versus Bray Wyatt. The match is going to be announced pretty soon, probably, but the mind games are on. That's all I can say for now. We're going to see Bobby Lashley versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. On to the next match. Match number 6, Otis versus Johnny Gargano. Or should I say Otis? Now, earlier in the episode, like I said earlier, there was a segment where Otis is outside the trainer's room, and Maximum Male Models and Maxine Dupree come to see him, and Maxine says she wants to see him in action tonight. Says tells Otis that she wants to see him in action, and he goes to see Adam Pearce to get a match, and he got his match with against Johnny Gargano. Now Otis is accompanied by the Maximum Male Model, who don't seem to uh, agree with Maxine's uh, plan to recruit Otis in the Maximum Male Models. They seem like disgusted at Otis, and that might get cracks in Maximum Male Model stable, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, during the match, Dexter Loomis appears at ringside and grabs Massage, just like to uh, abduct him, but Mansoor prevents that. But Gargano wins the match with his over the top DDT. So Otis losing again continues the fact that Alpha Academy is dying. Gargano gets a big win against a big guy, and the Maximum Male Model, Maxine Dupree, and Otis continue to uh, get closer together. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm like I said, Alpha Academy is a dying tag team right now, and probably after WrestleMania, there's going to be a breakup of Alpha Academy to launch the new season for WWE. Let's go to the final match of the evening. So main event of the evening, Damage Control and versus Becky Lynch and Lita for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Now, Lita and Becky Lynch won the title with the lead assault. Now, all this is just set up the WrestleMania match I've been talking about for a couple of weeks now. At one point during the match, Bayley prevents a tag to Lita from Becky Lynch, and that's when Trish Stratus comes out and attacks Bayley, and that sets up the win for Becky and Lita. My question: why? Why did you strip? Well, why did you remove the titles from Io Sky and Dakota Kai? Maybe for the shock value, maybe for the shock that that Trish appeared to help Lita and Bayley and Becky. But why would you want to take the titles off Damage Control right now? That made them look weaker than before the match. Now, is that going to set up a rematch next week where Damage Control retakes the titles? Maybe. We all know that on SmackDown, Baszler and Rousey wants to have a crack at the titles as well. So, are they going to win back the titles to lose them to Rousey and Baszler to set up the 3 against 3 for Mania? We'll see. We're not there yet. What I think is going to happen is that Damage Control are going to take the titles back sooner than later. But why I think WWE really screwed up on that one. They should not have taken the titles off Io and Dakota, even if they haven't defended them in a while. They should have made them defend the titles more often and make them win those matches to make them look strong, not weak. But anyway, we'll see how it goes in the next few weeks. That's all for this episode of the Wrestling Analyst. Hope you liked this video. If you liked it, well, hit a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, And if, of course, if you know people that love wrestling and want to maybe have a take on why things happen, introduce them to my channel. Have a nice day.